We're good. We're live. All right. So hello everybody. This is going to be very interesting, considering the fact that we have no website to use any sort of source material from. We can't pull anything from the website currently. So I guess we want to talk about. How about we just off the top of our heads talk about who's been doing well over the first couple weeks and who's been really shitting the bed. First and foremost, since he constantly types into manager's chat how amazing his team is, I guess we'll give we'll give proper due to the Albany Devils. What are you guys seeing with the Albany Devils? I mean, I know right now you're not seeing much because we can't really look at scores or schedules or anything. But just off the top of your head, what do you guys have in regards to the Albany Devils?
At first glance, by looking at record, it says good team. But then when you look at what they're made up of, Nick and Mike are the backbone of the team.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're the best two players by far. I understand Stemple's on there, but Stemple plays, like 10 minutes a week. So you can't really count him for much. But Mike and Nick are definitely the backbone of the team.
Yeah. A shakeup over in Albany this week. Pestilence is out, and now Nick X98 is in. How do you guys think that affects the team? Do you think there's any sort of residual effect there? Any sort of, changing of the guard, trickle-down effect? Or do you think that it's just business as usual for them?
Business, I would say, but at the same time, I would say it hurt them because they got their 2 losses this week, and they never got 2 losses when Pestilence was with them.
I guess it really just depends on the chemistry they had with Pest. If he was the glue that held them all together, then this could really affect them. If he was just a cog in the machine, then this might not affect him at all.
Right. So I feel like one of their losses came before before Pest moved on, or I'm not sure. I'd have to. It's hard when
I can't.
I'm not sure.
I know one was I know one was this week against
I know they dropped one to the Ontario Reign, right?
Yes,
Right, and then the Wolfpack was the second one. I don't know if the Rain was this week or last week.
the Rain was this week. They had a double header. I think
Yeah, I'm pretty
Thursday
sure
or
they
Wednesday.
were both this week. If
Yep,
I'm
that sounds
not
right.
mistaken. Yeah.
Their fire, but I think it definitely set a bad trend, or it can fire them up. Maybe they don't take some teams like and Hartford. Both are good teams, so it's not like they lost to the Admirals or the Monsters. You know that they lost to good teams that probably could have gone either way.
Right. Frees up a little bit of cap. With Pest moving on, so that's one of the assistant captains are Mill, right? So it frees up a Mill. Then you slot Nick X98 in there, who was over a Mill. But that basically takes a Mill off of his contract, so you free up a little bit of cap.
I don't think so. I think he comes in at his base salary, whatever.
Right? Yeah, no, he does. But see, so the Mill that would have been given to Pest. Well, he doesn't make a mill, but that would have quote unquote been given to him is you basically subtract that from Nick's 98's contract. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, I got it.
Right. So it does free up a little bit of cap. I saw this week that they went ahead and they signed. Now I'm going to butcher his name, but Ulch something or other with a whole bunch of numbers. I don't know, 654.
Ultic something.
Right? Yeah. Do you guys know anything about him? Because I don't.
Not really. I know he was the Springfield owner / captain.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know anything about him. I don't know nothing.
Yeah. Me neither. I checked his stats over in a faraway land, a different league somewhere, and he seems to be pretty good, but nothing at really a high level, pretty low level competition. I'm pretty sure it was like the PHL equivalent. So
Right. Yeah.
With the little bit of cap that they free up, though, where is there a glaring hole with Albany? Is there any sort of really glaring holes in this team that you guys see them trying to bolster moving forward?
I would say they're 10-day. Because they got Trip and Bobcats, which are okay 10-days, but I wouldn't say they're great goalies.
Right, but they also have, again, Mike and Nick in front of them. Now, I know Mike and Nick are normally forwards, but they're obviously holding that back end together really well because, I mean, okay, they put 11 against the Monsters, and I haven't looked at every game Albany's played in, but if you look at the leaderboards, which is not all telling, I understand that, but they don't have anybody, consistently up there. So, I know Jaws is good. Playmaker is whatever. No idea who Big Daddy is. No idea who Bust a Nut is. Simple, obviously, but we all know Simple's playing 2 games a week. And then the real Benz, obviously, is somebody to pay attention to. But other than that, I don't see anything offensively that screams amazing.
Right. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and find out. I mean, Bobcat certainly has a big enough mouth to make us think that they're amazing. So, we were supposed to have him on here yesterday, which never really panned out. But if we put something together next week like we're supposed to, then
it'd be an honor. It'd be an honor to have him.
Yeah, so maybe we'll have.
I'd like to hear his perspective as to his strengths and weaknesses are as a team.
I'm not sure if I'd say honored. I was thinking more like along the lines of a vasectomy, so I don't really find too much honor in that. But yes, it'll be good anyway. It'll be fun. So moving on from there, site is back up, by the way. So maybe we got a little bit more source material to pull from. So that's a plus. All right. So I mean, off the top of my head, still while I pull up the website here, Chicago Wolves are second. They creeped in ahead of us. Well, we got the man right now on here. So what do you got?
We had
in Chicago. I guess since you got the best insight that you could offer.
We had a rough week. It wasn't our best week. We lost in overtime to, I think it was the Moose.
Yep.
Which I said it last week. The Moose are a talented team. Their record doesn't necessarily reflect it, but they have some players. And then our power play is horrible, and our penalty kill is bad. And so we lost in overtime. We were at 4-1. They tied it in the third, and then we lost on a power play on a penalty kill moment, and that was that. And we had another loss, and I think it was due to power play again.
Yeah.
Not the greatest week we've had, but I mean the guys are they're shrugging it off. They know it's just a fluke.
What was the hardest part of this week, though? You said you had a tough week. Was the hardest part moving into second overall or moving out of third overall?
Well, I mean, for us this week, as far as we didn't play our best, and some of the teams that we played caught us when we weren't playing our best. The Moose being one of them, they caught us when we weren't playing our best, and so for us that was frustrating. I mean,
in other news, the Barracuda are 23rd overall now.
Hey, that's big movement. They were like what 30th last week. So,
yeah, I just wanted to shout out the Barracuda making big moves, power moves, moving into 23rd overall. So definitely the highest they've been all season. Shout outs to Dancing Tank for immobilizing his unit and or mobilizing, not immobilizing. And
they were immobilized.
They were immobilized, but they're moving up in the world now, and they've they're doing some good things. And I in all fairness, I'm kind of making a joke out of it, but they actually have become a slightly better team. They played us. They played us in the middle of the week, and they took us to overtime, or it was actually the beginning of the week. They took us to overtime. So they have a pretty decent team considering the fact that they're 23rd overall. They make a few signings this week. They pick up Sweet and Spence. They pick up Droz. They pick up Yoam Corey, and they pick up Jay Skis. Jay Skis, I don't know if that was a send down, but I'm pretty sure he was with Rockford last season.
I think it was a send down.
Yeah, there must have been a send down. So that's a good addition. So, I mean, honestly, we make jokes and everything, but keep an eye on this team. They got $4 million cap, and if Tank doesn't shit himself, then they could actually make some noise. So I did want to just shout them out real quick. Sorry to deviate from our list here, but I felt like they needed a little bit of recognition.
Oh.
Anything else with the Chicago Wolves? Was there anything else that you had that you wanted to talk about with your guys?
Nope, that was it. I mean, we're still the same core of guys.
And you know what? That's what I want to do. Since we actually kind of just threw this show together last minute, and we didn't have the website for much of the time, I want to just basically dedicate this show to looking over teams and going over teams and what's going on in the standings. So Bakersfield coming in at number 3, which is, they're probably my favorite team in the league.
Would it be because you're the captain of it?
Yeah, well, actually, I like the team. The captain's a dick, so I got no use for him. But aside from him, the team's really solid. They were actually hit by some weird roster movement. They have a right wing in Hockey Fanatic moving up to the NHL. He was included in a trade. It was a trade actually, which I pushed for, believe it or not, because it was going to hurt me. But since I take stock in the organization. I'm not one of these AHL captains or GMs or whatever you want to call us who are super, selfish and everything like that. So I do take into account the entire organization. So the deal that they were offered was pretty substantial, and I thought it was good, and it was really good value. So we ended up moving him. He leaves, so it leaves quite a hole, but nothing that's not dealable. And then we also lose B Dog, who moves over to Bridgeport. So, Lehigh Valley Phantoms, number 4th overall currently. They actually they put a pretty solid beating on us early on in the week. Beat us 5-3, but I don't think that the score really did justice in terms of how badly they beat us. If you look,
and we had the same, we had the same problem. They beat us. They beat us also this week. It was they played really well. We played really bad, and the score was only 2-1. But like you were saying, our game was completely lopsided. They, it felt as though they completely demolished us, even though the score didn't show it. But I think most of that had to do with Murlock holding it together for us. But yeah, it was definitely a hard played game.
Yeah, they put a quite the shellacking on us, and they're a dangerous team, and you know what? When I look at teams throughout the league, even though they haven't really catapulted up to the Albany Devils, who have been highly touted by their management. Even though they never really skyrocketed like them, they're a team that I have had a circle around since the beginning of the year, and I want to still continue to keep a circle around that team. And everyone, I'm putting the league on notice: beware of the Phantoms. I think we have T-Man in here now, don't we? Is T-Man with us?
I think he joined you. Yeah.
Yep.
T-Man, what's up, man? What's going on?
What's going on?
Fresh off
fashionably late.
Work? Fashionably late, yes, that's right. Yeah, better to be fashionably late than fashionably fat. So, you got anything to add with the Phantoms? Anybody have anything to add on these guys?
I haven't played them yet, so we'll see how they look in a couple weeks when we play them.
Yeah. They have a really the thing I like about the Phantoms is that they play they have a team. A team is basically what I'm going to say. Mm-hmm. They're not just superstars. You know what I mean? They know how to play as a team. They know how to pass. They know how to cycle. And that's, to me, that's the most valuable thing that you could have in terms of an offense. The Hartford Wolfpack. Last time we spoke about the Hartford Wolfpack, is somebody farting electricity? Yeah, it sounds like somebody's farting electricity.
It does sound like it. It is a weird little electric shock thing.
Somebody got an electric butthole? What's going on? We good? So the Hartford Wolfpack. Last time we spoke about them, they weren't doing so hot, but I mentioned them and I told everyone to keep an eye on them, and now here they are, sitting 5th overall, and they've made some noise over the past week and a half. 17-6-1. So they have definitely gotten it together. They have 99 goals for, which is pretty high, and only 62 goals against. Any opinions on the Hartford Wolfpack? No?
My team played them Wednesday night, and they were pretty solid defensively. We beat them in overtime. I'm pretty sure 4-3, but or 3-2 or something like that. But I mean, they're definitely a solid team, and they've risen a lot since the beginning of the year. I think that first week is always the toughest, and for them, it was definitely tough. I think they came out of the gates a little slow, but they're really picking up steam now.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their team, and first of all, they have some really offensively gifted players. G Steak's on the team now. I don't know where he came from. I don't know if he was a signing or if he must have been a send down or something. I don't know, but that's definitely a really good addition. Somebody killing a mosquito? Hello?
I thought it was a rocking chair at first.
It sounds like a mosquito is dying. Yeah, it's rough. Okay. So they add him. They add Poopin since '95, and then they have some other guys on this team, some really really strong weapons like Ty Lee, and then they have a good defense with that guy.
Carter's a good defenseman. Ty Lee's definitely their offensive power. Yes. I don't know how much Pupin's going to play. I've heard
he doesn't seem very into the league, does he? He doesn't seem like he's too dedicated.
Right. It sounds like he's got. I mean, the reason he was bought out from the goals is because he has prior engagements that he's dedicated to. So maybe he's willing to play 2 games a week, and that's all. That's all he can do. But I think they were hoping to get more.
Had 2 games this whole season because he's only played 1 game for the Gulls and 1 game for the Wolfpack.
Right, and so that's what I'm saying. We're 3 weeks into the season. He's played 2 games. He's not somebody I would entertain. But for minimum contract, you can get him as 2 a week. I guess whatever, But Ty Lee's definitely the go-to guy. New Jersey Devils, he's a solid player. Carter's solid. About all I know. I don't know who G Steak is.
G Steak's he's kind of like a fringe NHLer, so he's a pretty good player.
I've played with Cred a little bit. Nothing fancy. I mean, not anybody I'd build a team around.
Yeah, I'm going to take a shot in the dark here, and I'm going to say that the Wolfpack probably continue to either rise or at least hold where they are, and they're going to be a problem. Kind of like I told you guys to circle the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. They're going to be a big problem. The Hartford Wolfpack. Definitely keep an eye on them. They'll be around for a while. We got the frigid Rockford Pigs, led by El Capitan T-Man over here. And anything interesting going on with this team, T-Man? Anything going on with you guys?
We're just focusing on playing more defensive hockey right now. That's our big thing. I mean, the previous week before this past one, we had 4.25 goals against average. This past week, we got it down to 2.75. So we'll take the gains as we go.
How has Razor worked out for you guys?
I mean, he's pretty solid defensively. I mean, we're working on as a unit to be better defensively, which would help him and the other defensemen. But I mean, he's available all 8. And, we're really riding on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was a little taken back by the fact that he took I forget what he went for, like $3 million or something like that.
Yeah, $3 million.
Yep.
I know that he's spent some time in the NHL, but I never really regarded him as a good player. I guess. I don't know if that's the right way to word that, but I never really held him in a very high regard. So I was a little taken back by the $3 million that you guys spent on him, but
Well,
it's good to know that
yeah.
he's working out anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you look at some of the other D prices. Some of the guys were a lot more expensive than what they should have been.
Yeah.
So, I mean, can I say that I thought he would be $3 million? No.
Yeah,
But
he
isn't
was a
that-
definite premium. You know.
Yeah.
I think that's the way that the bidding goes. Is it's not about what everybody thinks that player's worth. It's what do you value him at?
Mhm.
Like for me, I don't. 3 million is going to be high for him, for me. But somebody else that you were bidding against obviously thought that he was worth it as well. So you weren't the only one that got him to 3 million. So
Right.
when Kush got to 7 million, somebody else was bidding. Like he just didn't get to 7 million over, in
Right.
one bid.
It's not like you're sitting there outbidding yourself.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like he
So
was
when
getting
people are like,
bids.
"Oh my God," it's like, no, there's
Yeah.
other teams involved. He just
Right.
happened to be the team that.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to what do you value the players at, and then and I
Right.
think that's what makes it interesting, especially if it works or doesn't work. If it works, you look like a hero. If it doesn't work, you look like an idiot,
Right.
and that's the
Yeah.
scary part about it.
Right. Kush goes for $7 million. That means, everyone's like, oh, that's way overpriced. But somebody else thought he was worth 6.75.
That's
you
it.
know? So,
That's it. Yep.
Right. Yeah. So it is a little weird the way that happens. I don't want to just focus on the top of the league. So I want to bounce around a little bit here. So speaking of bouncing, let's bounce way down to the Cleveland Monsters. Last place, pulling up the ass end of the league. What's going on in Cleveland? Anybody know
I
anything
haven't
about
played
these
them
guys?
yet, so I'm not sure.
Let me see what they got. I know they got stomped by Albany the other night.
Yeah.
Well, I know-
MJ's
I
very
think-
own.
Oh, good.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think most of their rosters actually turned over since the beginning of the season. So,
Yeah.
they just bought up their assistant captain.
Yep, I just saw that.
Yeah, I see they
Not sure
signed
what else is
Cole
going on, but-
Forbin. They signed
They have a
Cole
lot of
Forbin,
trades.
who I'm a fan of Cole Forbin. I mean, he's not going to win you games by himself, but I'm a fan of his. He's a good guy, solid player. So
I
that's
think
a
they
good
just
addition.
they just picked up. I think they just picked up Bill Hicks in New Jersey's very own recently. I think that was a kind of recent deal.
Yeah.
Timmy 2K, I've played with. It might have been somewhere else I played with them. I think it was in tryouts or something. I think he's underestimated from what I saw of him. He's somebody that can definitely play. He's definitely somebody that's undervalued.
Mhm. Yeah. So a lot of times, I mean, there's some good players on this team, so I guess a lot of times it's just a matter of what works. Sometimes it works and you look like the hero, and then other times it doesn't, and you look like the goat, not the greatest of all time goat, but the scapegoat. So
Yeah, right. Yeah.
maybe they can get it turned around. Who knows?
My only question is, does anyone know if Delinquent, or however you say it, was Bieldo or dropped?
Philu Kent, I think he's another case where our very own Mr. Stevens over here, really didn't like the fact that a lot of teams were just waiving guys who probably should have had an inactive claim placed on them.
Yes.
And I think Philu Kent fits into that category. I'm pretty sure he was waived when he probably could have been placed inactive.
Okay, I just wanted to check because the Monsters just got him.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe maybe he's somebody's brother-in-law or nephew or cousin or whatever on the team, and maybe they know something that we don't know.
Well, not to deviate too much, but that's part of the problem with the inactive process, and that's a whole show in itself. But if I don't know what the Monsters did, I don't know if they did it correctly, but if he was actually filed as inactive and the league, for whatever reason, in all their geniusness, declined it and wait 2-3 weeks to tell them it's declined, then I'm sure he just got tired of waiting and waived the guy.
Yeah.
Not the right answer, because if you're inactive, you deserve a blacklist, because it's not hard to, at least come back and to retire or whatever. But nonetheless, if he was inactive, he should have been reported inactive.
And it's really not too hard. I mean, we have Ozip. I don't know if Ozips is here anymore. I know I see him in the channel, but I don't know if he's actually here. It's not too hard to get inactive taken care of. Sure, there's a little bit of pushback, from the PA, and Ozip and the rest of them could be kind of a pain in the ass, but it's not that hard to follow suit and take care of it, so the guy is cleared off your roster. So to me, it's really just negligence on the part of the management to just it's kind of like just biting the bullet, and you lose cap, and you put a guy into rotation who may not be playing. So
right, yeah, and this, we don't know the deal. I mean, this could be his way of basically protesting the team he's on.
Right, yeah.
So he's just not going to play.
Yeah.
Now he's released, and now he's like, "Oh, okay, I'm going to this team. I can play now." It's like, no, man, that's not how this works. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of that goes.
That's my problem with it.
Yeah,
for sure. Yep.
Yeah, that definitely needs to be taken care of for sure. Moving up one step from those guys, the Milwaukee Admirals, ran by Spy Queen. Not doing so hot. I mean Spy King, I'm sorry. Not doing so hot. You look at this roster, and I mean, they actually have some pretty good talent on here, but it's just not clicking for them right now. They add Ponarella recently, who's he spent some time in the NHL, so that's a good addition for them. But I don't know that it's enough to really turn anything around here.
I don't think so. I think Murphy 87 either was, previous seasons was on a good team where he was carried. I don't think he's going to help a whole lot. Wicked Dreams, he ECU'd for me for 2 games. Probably not going to help a whole lot. The only reason I know Strawn is because he used to be the Boston Bruins owner. Mike Athome, or Mike Athome, whatever, he, used to be pretty good. I don't know what he's like now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They're definitely not. It's definitely not getting done. I mean, 5-18 on the season.
So I want to move on from here. Anybody have a time check? How long in are we right now? Anybody know?
I think we started like 6:30ish, 6:40ish, and at 7:11.
Okay. So yeah, I don't want to go on too long with this show because it is just a slap together. So I don't want to like drag it out or anything. So before we move on from the standings and what's going on in regards to team positioning and players around the league and stuff like that, is there anything else that you guys want to particularly add about this subject?
What subject?
Just about team standings, who's where, what's going on, teams that are moving up, any sort of noticeable movement in the standings, any team slipping, anything at all in regards to that.
No, I don't think anybody fell, very far, and I don't think anybody jumped up very far. I think everybody kind of, if they shuffled, it was 1 or 2 here, 1 or 2 there. I don't think anybody, did anything really good or really bad this week.
My only thing is Utica slipping.
Yeah, and I think Providence slipped a little bit too, did they? Or no?
They lost to the Crunch.
I think they just had one really good week, and that was it. To me, they're not like a top team. They're like once they keep on playing like good teams, to me, they're like a bottom team-ish.
Providence, I'd agree with that. I don't know about bottom team, but I think
mid-level.
I think they're hardly a playoff team. How about that?
Eighth seed. They're like an 8th or 9th. You know what I mean? Like they're 8th or they hit that 9th spot.
Maybe
like,
7th, somewhere along there. 7th, 8th, 9th, maybe 10th. You know, somewhere along those lines. So we'll move on from the standings overview now. Just last call if anyone's got anything that they wanted to talk about. No.
Nope.
Everybody good?
Nope.
All right. Well, let's get on to the interesting shit, shall we? So first and foremost, captains buyouts, captains moving on. I feel like we've seen a lot already, huh? I mean, we're only 3 weeks in, and I feel like there's been a couple guys who have quit already.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, just this week there's been a lot of manager buyouts.
and I don't know how many of them are the captain quitting or the NHL team buying them out. Because just because he gets bought out doesn't mean he was doing a bad job necessarily. Maybe they just had a difference of opinion. And that could be a big part of it. It's hard to say what the reasoning was.
First one that pops out to me is the Springfield Thunderbirds. What's going on in Springfield? There's definitely problems over there. I know that there was some. I don't particularly think that this led to them quitting.
I think it did lead to it.
You do think it led to it. So you think that Reaper bitch slapping the Springfield Thunderbirds is what led to them quitting?
Yeah, I think the whole thing that happened that day made the guy quit because he kept going on and on about. They kept going on for like an hour about who should take a penalty, who shouldn't, and it was just ridiculous. They should have just played it or just rescheduled the game, and no one could do anything correctly about it. And then the guy started to not have good thoughts about stuff. So then he went to go to his manager and asked for a buyout, I think.
Well, I think some of the the captains, what are you going to call them? Like, I don't think they realize what they're getting themselves into when they take a team. It's cool to run a team until shit gets real, and then
if it goes
when
bad,
when you're on a losing team and you have pissed off players, you're frustrated because you think or you thought you built a team, and come to find out they're bad. And you have people threatening to quit. You have people not responding, not showing up to play. And then inside the team chat, you have a guy like Reaper who fucking dipshit and just runs his mouth the whole time about absolutely nothing and just badgers this kid. If I was the Springfield kid, I would have went to the league and I would have left the chat. Like, there was no need for him to carry on like that. Like,
but I mean, adding to that, I'm not going to go into anything specific, but there's a right way and a wrong way when you get bought out.
Yes.
I don't think they did. I don't think they went with the right way to get bought out, and some of their actions,
I agree with that.
Kind of leads to a poor taste in my mouth.
Well,
even just from the outside looking in.
But he's not the first one to do it this season. Galley did it when he got bought out.
Yep.
You don't take your
Galley a different situation.
Yes, I think he was bought out by the NHL team, but on the way out, he traded and cut people and screwed the whole team over essentially. And to me, the league should not honor those waves or trades. Once it's been notified that this player is either quitting or being bought out, all management should be frozen. No trades, no buyouts, nothing, because all you're going to do is ruin the atmosphere for the players on those teams.
Well,
So
and I mean, like think of it from the new management coming in,
yeah,
right?
yep.
They might not have anything they want to move, or they have to figure out what they want. Like it's.
Although I do
It's
think
tough.
Edge has done a great job in Iowa of piecing together what Galley left behind for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the problem too. Is when these guys are getting bought out or quitting, they set the place on fire and walk away. That's just it's immature, it's disrespectful, and it's just it's I
Yeah.
don't know. It's bad business. It's bad. It's just bad.
Yeah, certainly, it definitely is. And I mean, I agree with you. I think that if the roster moves are posted after the buyout is posted, then I think that they should be null and void. Excuse me. But I mean, if it's before, like if it's leading up to the buyout, then I feel like things should stand, because at the end of the day, then it's the owner's responsibility, right, to make sure that you appoint more qualified people, better people who are not going to pull something like that. So I think it should fall on them too. But if it's post buyout, then absolutely, I think it should be reversed.
Yeah, I agree with you. The NHL owners, the onus is on them to not hire retards. If you don't care about your AHL team, then don't be mad when they run it to the ground.
Right.
Don't be mad when they can't make a trade happen for you. Don't be mad when they cut good players or waive good players or trade good players. You didn't take the time to go through and pick a qualified person, then you get an unqualified result.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with you 100% on that. Was there any other did we see anybody else quit recently or be bought out or
No, it's just Pest, the Springfield and
The Monsters were the other one.
Monsters. Oh yeah, the Monsters happened like a couple weeks ago. And
Oh, did it? Wow, I think so.
Oh, and then there was Tucson, I think, as well.
Yes, Disruption was bought out.
Yep.
So yeah, there's been like a good 5 or 6 people that have been bought out this season.
Already. We're only 3 weeks in.
Well,
I feel like
looks like that.
I was here last season, and I feel like that's quite a bit more than last season already. So
Correct. I think there was
And
like
it looks like
1 or 2 buyouts last season.
And it looks like the Admirals. Did we talk about them already? It looks like they just got a buyout.
did they?
No, don't look at that. That is a buyout. I think that's only a buyout of a player, but not positive.
Yeah, it is. Never mind. Oh goodness. Never mind.
Yeah.
Again.
Any other, while we're on the topic of drama and buyouts and everything like that, is there anything else in that spectrum that you guys want to touch on? Nope, we good?
No, I think we're good.
We good? All right. Couple trades that just came across the board here that I want to talk about. So a trade between the Binghamton Senators and the Texas Stars. Flesh-eating alien heading over to the Texas Stars for Hillary Knight, aka Clark Skug. So
this
that's
hasn't been processed yet. So should we talk about it?
Well, I don't see that there's going to be anything. There's
Stopping
nothing wrong with the trade, right? So it's accepted by both parties. So yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay.
What do you guys think it is?
I think that Binghamton won this trade.
Yeah.
I don't.
Why sports?
Because Clark is a much better player than Flash, and Clark is a player that was helping the Stars win a lot of games. I think the Stars will keep continuing to win games, but I don't think they'll win games as much as they did without Clark. since Clark is such a high scoring talent of a player.
Yeah.
And they send him to Binghamton with no one to really help him out there. But I still think that Clark will help Binghamton grow and become a better team.
Right. To me, this trade. To me, this is a salary dump by Texas. It's really the only logical explanation. I mean, unless Clark, Hillary Knight, whatever, Batman, whatever you want to call him, unless he was just that egregiously terrible of a person that was insufferable and they couldn't take him anymore. If that's not the case, then this is a salary dump, and it's a bad salary dump if that's what it is. Unless
if it was a salary dump, man, that's a bad salary.
It's a bad salary dump. Yeah, if that's a salary dump,
sure.
it's a bad salary dump. Unless flesh-eating alien is going up to the NHL, which is a possibility. Maybe they traded him over. He's going to land in Texas, and they're going to ship him up to Dallas.
That very well could be it.
Which could be a possibility. But if that's not happening, then this is a bad salary dump for Texas, because Flesh is not even half the player that Hillary Knight is. And he's $2.25 million, so it's only $1 million in cap difference. So if he's remaining with the team, it's not really. It's a bad salary dump. This is basically.
I don't think it's a salary dump. I think it's a situation that a player wanted more games, and the GM or the captain couldn't give him more games, so he let this player go.
I don't understand. I do not understand that. He's your best player that wants more games, and you can't give it to him.
Yeah.
I don't how. What? Where does this happen? Like, I will tell you right now, that will never happen on my team. If my best player says, "Hey, I'm only getting 4. I want more," my best player is getting more games. Like, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, you'd have a better chance of me going to the league, asking the league to schedule more games than
right.
telling him no.
Yep.
T-Man, any opinions on this trade here?
I mean, same thing with Jim. If it's my best player, he's going to play as many games as he wants. That's all I can say.
And we don't know. It could be that Clark wanted out of Texas. We don't know this. I mean, we can speculate.
I heard he did. I heard that he did. That's what I heard.
So we don't know what the whole issue is. We don't know what the mindset is of management or the players. So it could be a player wanting out. It could be, Dallas wanting Flesh. Or like you said, it could be just one of the world's worst cap dump in league history, because there's definitely players that were tradable or teams that had the cap that would trade to free up cap other than $1 million.
Yeah. Oh, you know what, sports? I just realized that you're actually kind of right. We probably shouldn't have talked about these trades because the players may not know that they've been traded yet. So, breaking news.
Oh, shit. The league might talk to us about that.
Yeah, well, you know what? Hey, look, we're supposed to be, the voice. So, breaking news: you guys have been traded. We
are an hour and a half into the window, so if they haven't approved it yet,
in our defense, it's the trans department's problem. So, sports, how about you get on that?
Get with it,
because you're slacking. So consider this to be motivation.
Well, how am I slacking? I'm trying to help you guys with the podcast.
Multitask, buddy. Multitask.
So anyway,
he's not speaking, but he's writing in the chat, and he said he was gonna say that, but he didn't.
Yeah. So I just realized that we maybe might not should have done that, but yeah. Anyway, I don't think it's the biggest deal. But since we put our foot in the water, we might as well get in the pool, right?
Okay, but since we all run teams here, do you ever not tell a player until after the trade's approved? Like if I trade a guy, as soon as I get the deal worked out and both teams agree, I let the player know. Like, hey man, we've worked a deal with so and so. It's whatever the case may be,
I'd
good luck.
wait until it's processed. I'd rather
Well,
wait.
what
until it's
I
processed.
do is I get permission from the other team, and we both decide that okay, yes, I give you permission to tell the player. They give me permission to tell the player, and then I tell the player. Is how I do it. So I don't know. I'm kind of in a bind here. I guess we might as well, because I had one more trade I wanted to talk about, which isn't currently processed, but checking out the numbers and everything, it'll be okay. So I don't really see unless somebody.
Are you
somebody
talking
wants
about
to-
the one with Caps and Rain?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So now everybody on those two teams are like sweating, like, oh shit.
Well,
Fuck.
I mean, you know what? I'll give the league 12 seconds for someone from the league to tell me not to reveal it, and then I'll reveal it. So, league, you got 12 seconds to tell me no. Anybody, if you're listening, I don't even know if anybody's listening.
Yeah, Ozip said no.
Okay, Ozip says no, so we won't reveal that. But what we will reveal is that someone from the Ontario Reign was traded to the St. John's Ice Caps, and someone from the St. John's Ice Caps was traded to the Ontario Reign. So, happy Cinco de Mayo tomorrow. Well, we can't talk about the trades. We went over the standings. Anything
Okay,
else?
I got one here. This is something that's really on bugging me about the league. So since they want to take forever doing transactions, so one thing the league needs to look at in the off season has got to be inactive player reporting. I have 3 players on my team that are inactive. One we haven't heard from since ever. One has told yourself and myself conflicting stories of whether he's playing or not.
Right.
No response, no reply, no nothing. One player told us he's not playing. We filed inactive. The league reaches out to him. He's like, oh, yeah, I can play. So I contact him, and he comes back with, never mind, I'm not going to play. The problem we run into is it's on the owner or the captain to prove that this player, in fact, is inactive. And I tell the league, it's 3 weeks into the season. Like, what more proof do I need? Is he knocking your door down, letting you know that I'm not playing him? I mean, I'm sure most players would do that. The inactive reporting is so flawed as far as on the trying to prove. Like, you have to have messages and you have to have proof. And it's like, dude, it's week 3, man. Like, it's week 3 of the season. The guy is nowhere around. That's probably one of the biggest problems we have for our team is we have 3 players that have hung around on our roster all season as dead weight.
And last year they didn't really let people do that, be on the IR thing for this many weeks. Also, Ozip, since you're here, is there anything you would be able to do this season or during the off season that would help people like Jim get the inactives or do stuff with the inactives? Okay, never mind.
I think
Keep going.
I think Ozip is only here in spirit.
Yeah.
So, well, here's the thing that I'll say, and that's the one thing about me. I really like to consider myself a pretty honest person. So here's what I will say. The league very clearly outlines the process in getting players removed. So if you post your lineups like you do, Jim, and like I do, so you post your lineups every single week. Make sure they're up there, okay? My gripe comes in with this. So from what I'm understanding, and so the spirit of Ozip may be able to tell us through telekinesis if we just bow our heads and summon him. So, from what I'm understanding, is that if a player is scheduled for 4 games, I think it's 4 games, but it has to be on 3 different nights. So, if you schedule a player for 4 games, which are occurring on 3 different nights, and they don't show up, and it is my belief and my feeling that I'm correct on that. So if you do that, then the player is inactive, and they should be removed. And in addition to that, if there's no response for 4 days, uh, then it's considered a non-responsive player, and they should be removed. So my only gripe with the league comes in there, in the sense that once that criteria is met, I think the player should be taken out very swiftly, without really any sort of blowback or pushback from the league. I understand that's why there's a PA and everything like that, but I think once that is met, the guy's got to go. Because then at that point,
you are correct.
What? Excuse me. Who?
Ozip said you're correct. 4 days of no reply is IA, which is inactive, and then he said once report goes through, I think, then they start investigating, which includes a 48-hour from a PA member.
Right.
Yes, except for it's a lot more. At least this season, for me, I can only speak for me. It's super complicated. I know that's why a lot of these management guys from other teams are just waiving their players, their inactive players, because like you have to literally prove, like you need fingerprints and blood samples and stool samples to prove that this fucking guy is not playing games anymore. Like, dude, I'm not going to come to you and give you some crock of shit about a guy not playing. Like, I'm telling you he's inactive. The PA should notify the guy and be like, hey, you've been reported active. Are you playing? Yes or no? But then, like in my case, I had one guy who actually told the PA, yes, he's playing. And like 2 days later, then tells me again that he's not playing. So now I got to go through the whole process of 4 days of inactive and then report him again. And it's like, God damn, man. Like I said, we're on week 3. I'm not doing this week 1. Week 1, week 2, I got it. I'll give you some time. But at week 3, enough's enough. Like let's stop this.
So I just wanna real quick just state that so I don't believe that the process is complicated. So I disagree with you there, Jim. I don't believe that the process is complicated. I feel like it's very clearly defined and very clearly outlined. However, I do feel like it's slow. At times it can be very slow, and it can be drawn out, and that can certainly lead to frustration. So I think that once the criteria is met, and once the team management have done taken care of the proper steps to claim a player to be inactive, I think once that is taken care of, it needs to be a speedy process.
Yeah, they're just taking time because they're trying to make sure that the owners or the captains aren't making the player quit and having that player show that they can play or cannot play this season.
Right.
Yeah, and I understand that they're trying to protect the player too. There are owners that will be quick to report a guy's inactive, and maybe the guy's on vacation, or maybe the guy didn't realize the season started. So I understand that, but the system that we use as management is we use those blue buttons. Well, once you click the blue button to report him inactive, you type your little blob of what he did or didn't do. That's it. It goes off the internet, and there's no communication between PA. If hey, I've received your file, I'll let you know what's going on. There's nothing. It's a ghost town. And then I talked to Neil Albert. I think it's Neil Albert, but I talked to him about my situation. He's like, "Oh yeah, man, it was declined 2 weeks ago." Oh, what? So he and I worked like for probably 2-3 hours on, I think it was Friday, going through me showing him pictures and proof of everybody I have inactive and everything I've talked about with the players. And finally he was like, damn, man, let me take care of this for you because this should have been dealt with weeks ago.
Right. This apparently is a pretty hot topic because in the very short duration that we've been speaking on it, I've gotten several messages from management as well as league officials who basically are stating their case and as they see things and their view on things. So there's definitely a lot of interest in this and people who feel differently about it. Coming directly from top dog league official Castro, he says that an image. Okay, you can go to I think what is it, Image URL or whatever.
Yeah.
If you go there and you post it and you get the link for the image, then you can just include it on your report. You know, of them saying that they're not going to play or whatever have you, and that should take care of it. So it's definitely supporting evidence. And then from a few owners, I'm not going to go ahead and mention them by name, but a few not owners, I'm sorry, captains, telling me that they've had inactive reports for several weeks now, which have not been executed properly. Right. So there's a lot to this, and I think there's two sides, and this is something that we definitely need to maybe come back and revisit in the future, in future discussions. And also make sure you're using your groups. If you're not using your groups and you're not posting lines and what have you.
Oh yeah, you're setting yourself up for failure.
You're shit out of luck, and you know what? At that point, you're just not doing your job. So, I'm certainly not going to mention it to anyone for you because you're not doing your job. So, whatever the repercussions of that are, so be it. So I guess we'll wrap up here now. This was kind of a throw together show. I was running late, so I apologize for that. I wasn't able to get things running the way I usually would. But we should be back next week, back to our regularly
Wait, time out.
Show. Time out. What's the matter?
We still need to do the goal of the week and goal and save of the week.
Goal of the week, save of the week. What do you got? Go ahead.
Red Sox able to get the goal there, and that's going to be a big moment with 30 seconds left. We've seen weirder things in this particular program. Forecheck working really well for Florida right now, but now they have to recover the puck in and near their own end. This is a chance. Looking! Save! And a penalty coming up here to Florida. And that may be what does it. They need a really, really big on odd man rush. Looking. Concept. Loses it, but he killed just enough time to make it work. Florida. Oh, he scores! What? No! Loses it, but he killed just enough time to make it work. Florida. Oh, he scores! What? No! No way. To the blue line. Slap shot. Oh my. Oh my. No way. To the blue line. Slap shot. Oh my. Oh my. If there was ever a way to tie a game, that was a thing.
Turn the fucking Cluse, good defensive play. Shoots. Wonderful save. He was hovering right over it.
So there you have it. That was the goal of the week. It's a new feature on the website that we're trying to do. So make sure you submit any sort of footage that you may have. I think there's a couple other categories. I believe there's goal of the week, save of the week, and a couple others. That was a goal scored by, well, we actually don't have the player's name, but it was scored by the Florida Panthers on the Montreal Canadiens. So let's get some video in so that we can definitely make that a successful endeavor. Couple of things I want to talk about before we go off the air. I want to mention the chat box on the website. It's been redone. I personally, I was someone who mentioned the fact that this was something that would really go over well, and I think it is. It's creating a really, really successful, great environment. It's building community, and it's a fun place to be right now. So if you guys haven't ventured into the chat box, it's easy to get to. You go to the website, and there's a giant fucking red button, part of my Swahili, but there's a really big red button staring in the face that is chat. It's got a little bubble on it. It's a nice little bubble. You click on that, takes you to the chat room, and it's a really cool place to hang out. It's a great place to, brag about what you're doing in the league, maybe make fun of a few people, and I don't know, maybe you find love finally in the right place. So make sure you check it out. Head over to the chat room and hang out with us all. In addition to that, there are what we're calling VG swag bags, I guess you could say, available from the Pro Shop on the website, which give you certain things that not everybody in the chat box gets. Things like an icon next to your name, which is pretty dope, and as well as changing the color of your name in the chat room. So definitely worth it. It's for a good cause. It benefits the league as we're trying to build and create even a better environment, which they've already created for us. So it's good. So it's for a good cause, and it's pretty cool. You get a cool color, you get a cool picture, and maybe we can finally hang out. So I guess that's it for me. Any final thoughts from you guys?
Did we want to do a game to watch this week or no? If not, all good. If so, I have one that I thought of.
Well, I'm kind of flying off the cuff here. Like I don't have anything written in front of me. So if you got a game of the week, let's hear it, Sports.
Okay. Game of the week that I thought of that could be a good competitive game was Rochester versus the Toronto Marlies on Wednesday at 9:35.
All right, so that's who?
Rochester Americans and the Toronto Marlies.
Rochester Americans and Toronto Marlies. I believe that they are they're division rivals, or are they different divisions? Same conference, or?
No idea, but I can find it out.
So why are we watching this game?
Thought it would be a pretty close game. Thought it would be competitive, and
all right, sounds good. Competitive, close. Okay, sounds good to me.
That's all I got.
Wednesday night, Albany and Chicago play. Number 1, number 2. So we'll see what happens.
Chicago and Albany.
Yep. I think that's Wednesday night, game 1. I think it might be game 2, but I think it's Wednesday night. I'm not looking at
anything else?
No, that's it for me.
Nope.
All right, let me end with a real quick Sports Geek Inquisition.
No,
all
let's not.
Sports Geek. I got a question. I got to ask you a question.
Nope.
And I want an answer.
Well, we'll get one.
Oh, what a party pooper.
What?
All right.
question.
So I guess no, it's all right. Well, you don't want to play, you won't play. It's
What's
fine.
your question? I'll play.
No, I don't got a question. Forget it.
Okay, good.
All right. So that'll take care of that. And thank you everybody for listening. And tune in next week, and we will have a much better drawn out show than we did by this sort of fly by the cuff show today. So thanks again, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Confession that you're my obsession. You're pulsing through me. The blood is rushing and I am trusting you'll come save me. My knees are